point. That's frightened me. This time my enemies shared my dread.
What up, y'all? It's your boy, Mr. Mars Sharp, Shortman Filmworks in the building. And we got another episode of the Everyday Man's Film Reviews for you guys tonight. So, we are on the third video of my series of Batman movies, of going over the Batman movies. And I know it's been a couple weeks since I put out my last video about Batman Returns, but I've been busy, I've been working, so I kind of haven't been having the time to actually go through these videos the way I wanted to go through them. And I've been kind of I ain't gonna say I've been kind of slacking, but I have been slacking because I haven't really had the time to actually sit down and watch the last three movies that I wanted to watch. And we all know that the Christopher Nolan trilogy, these movies are long. They're about 2.5 hours a piece. So trying to find the time to watch these movies has kind of been escaping me. But I had a chance to watch Batman Begins, which is what this video is going to be about today. So this is about the Dark Knight trilogy, which is Christopher Nolan's take on the Christopher Nolan's take on Batman. All right, so I believe this movie came out in 2005. I believe it came out in 2005, and it stars Christian Bale, who's known for, at the time, I don't know if what was Christian Bale really known for at this time? American Psycho. That's what he was really known for at the time. He did American Psycho, and I think before this he did American Psycho. He did Shaft with Samuel L. Jackson in it, and I really can't remember any other movies that he did. I know he did The Machinist, but I'm trying to remember if he did The Machinist before this or after this. I think he did Machinist before he did this, or I never know. He probably was doing all of it at the same time. But stars Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Liam Neeson, Morgan Freeman is in this. It's a lot of big name stars in it, and Katie Holmes is in this movie as well. So you got a nice, good star-studded cast inside of this movie, and I guess it's because of Christopher Nolan. I guess he got a good appeal and good pull inside of Hollywood, where he can get his share of stars to star inside of his movies. All right, but we start out with the Batman Begins movie in the Dark Knight trilogy. So this is the first movie, and in this movie we get a take on how Bruce Wayne actually goes about becoming Batman, you know what I mean? And he's still dealing with the grief of losing his parents. And in this particular movie, we get a little bit more of backstory with his parents on, well, I don't want to say backstory. We get a little bit more of the psychological damage that it does to Bruce Wayne in this movie. And I think it was a good take on it. It's a good take on it because we actually see what's going on in the heart of Bruce Wayne after his parents are killed. You know, they're killed at a young age. I think he probably was about 8 or 9 years old when his parents were killed. And we see him go through this kind of like this I don't want to say this, well, he don't really go through the transformation just yet, but we see him go through this this period where he kind of blames himself for his parents dying. So he kind of takes the guilt in, and he kind of almost pushes himself through this punishment, because in the beginning of the movie, he's in the Far East pretty much trying to discover himself and trying to find out, you know, his purpose. What is he here for? You know, and I guess, you know, the loss of his parents made him feel like, hey, I got to go out here and find out exactly what it is that I want to do and exactly what I need to do. You know, so he goes out to the Far East to find himself, and he actually finds himself getting involved with the League of Shadows, which is led by Ra's al Ghul, played by Liam Neeson. And we see Bruce Wayne going through this transformation of actually being part of the League of Shadows, but the League of Shadows has its own purpose, which is pretty much they have this mission of being some of the finest, most elite soldiers in history, where they pretty much wipe out civilizations that pretty much can't take care of themselves. Okay, so when Bruce Wayne actually finds this out, you know, you actually see that he doesn't have that kind of He doesn't have that kind of fabric inside of him where he's doing all this training, and after he does all this training, he's like, okay, now I gotta go out here and I just gotta take out different civilizations, not different civilizations, but take out the weak, so to say. I gotta take out the weak because the weak are destroying society. And he sees that he's not that man. He's not that kind of dude. He's not that dude that he's been training for. He's been training to be this, pretty much this elite soldier, and he pretty much takes that training and says, okay, well, I could do something different. I don't have to be this kind of soldier that doesn't have no kind of compassion. So he takes that training and pretty much brings it to Gotham City and becomes this vigilante, but he becomes Batman in the grand scheme of it all. He becomes Batman, and you see how he transforms into this character. He transforms into this crime fighter. You know what I mean? And at a time where Gotham City is going through a whole bunch of different turmoil. You know, they pretty much ran by crime boss named by I think his name was Falcone, played by Tom Wilkinson, and he's pretty much running the whole town. He's running the town, paying off judges and paying off DAs and paying off different officials and cops and all kinds of legal and legit professionals inside of the city. And Bruce Wayne pretty much is like, okay, I want to clean up this part of Gotham because the city is worth saving, you know. So in a way, he takes on the role of being Gotham's savior, you know what I mean? So I think this was a new take on Batman, because I mean, based on all the old movies from before, based on the '89 movie and '92's Batman Returns and Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, is, to me, this was more of the lines of what the other movies should have followed after the original Batman. Because any way you look at it, to me, I love the original Batman. '89 Batman, to me, I love the original '89 Batman. After that, it just became kind of goofy. It became kind of clownish, and it kind of just took the mystique and the lore of Batman. It just made him kind of into a comedic character for me, whereas this movie brought it back to that dark element. And I don't, you know, and I know a lot of comic book movies are going toward that. I don't even want to say a dark element. I don't want to call it a dark element, because a lot of people are referring to comic books now as it's going more in a dark, edgy type manner. I want to say it took it more to a more realistic perspective. You know what I mean? Would there actually be a man dressed up as a bat being a vigilante in a city? Probably not, but who knows? You know, who knows? The movie makes it believable. You know, I feel like this movie, in the direction that Christopher Nolan took it in, made it believable and made you believe that there can actually be a millionaire dude out here. Well, you ain't gonna know he's a millionaire, but there actually could be a dude out here who's actually trying to make a difference. You know what I mean? And that's the thing with Batman. He's trying to make a difference in this city where there's so much organized crime. He's trying to be that one being or that one presence that says, hey, you don't have to live in fear. You don't have to live the way you've been living, that you can do it differently. And all it takes is one person to see. It takes one person to see that things can change. You know what I mean? So I like that take. I like that take that it was taken in. And honestly, me personally, I never read a Batman comic, but I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot of fanboys that'll probably say, hey, this is more geared toward what the comic was like. And if it is what it is, then that's great. That's awesome. You know what I mean? But in loving this movie, and I want to say, I don't want to say I love this movie, but I really do like it. You know what I mean? Because it's not one of my favorite Batman movies, but after watching it again, and I think because I'll be honest with you, I only seen this movie one time. So actually watching it again, I got more of an appreciation for the movie now this time around. So in watching it now, I see a lot of the underlying themes that was going on inside of the movie. You know, same thing with the League of Shadows. Like, I feel like with the League of Shadows, I understand their purpose, whereas they wanna they want to restore balance to what's going on in the world. And you know, it's kind of like what they have to do. How Ra's al Ghul is. He's like, okay, well, you got to restore order. When things get out of order, you got to do drastic you got to go through drastic methods to restore it. So I get where the League of Shadows was going, but was it done in a moral type way? No, because they pretty much wanted to wipe out Gotham City because of how Gotham City was. It was just like, yo, this is just a city full of chaos. So if it's a city full of chaos, we have to do what we have to do to wipe it out and get balance restored back, you know, to what it was, you know. And I don't know how many people out here seen this movie, and I kind of don't want to really tell the whole movie. I kind of want to give you like a good, like just kind of just a synopsis of it, because you haven't seen it, and if you're not a fan of Batman, then you probably won't see it, or I don't want to spoil it for nobody. You know what I mean? So I would say if you haven't seen Batman Begins, check it out. See the movie. It's a good film, very good film. I think Christopher Nolan, as I say, I think Christopher Nolan did his thing on this movie in taking it in that direction. But it's also a testament to the screenwriter as well, you know. But the direction that Christopher Nolan took it in was one of just realism. Like you can really get. You can get into the movie and like I said, you can get into the movie and believe and it can be very believable. You know what I mean? The performances was also excellent. I think Christian Bale did a good job as Batman, but Michael Keaton is always going to be my favorite Batman. He's always going to be my favorite Batman. And I don't know, man. I think with Christian Bale, and I'm not saying he didn't do a good job. I think he did a great job being Batman and him becoming a Batman. But I don't know. To me, it was just I don't know. It just seemed like it was something about Christian Bale that was a little bit. There was something about him still missing. You know what I mean? And I don't know. And I guess because I'm comparing him to Michael Keaton, and I'm trying to see him as his own version of Batman, which is fine. I mean, I'm not saying that he did a terrible job. He didn't do a terrible job. He did a great job. Christian Bale is a phenomenal actor, man. He's a phenomenal actor. But in I don't know, in this role, I just feel like, and maybe because it's the first movie, I got to go back and watch the other two. But I feel like, let me not take nothing away from him, because I don't want to take nothing away from his version of Batman, because comparing him to Michael Keaton, he did his own thing. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. He did his own thing, and I think for what it was, it worked, because seeing him as a younger Bruce Wayne and him going through his transformation, I think that transformation was necessary. And the way Christian Bale did it, I think he did it in a way where he's trying to bring a little bit of humanity to him. But I don't know. To me, I just feel like it was still something missing with Christian Bale's Batman in this film. I don't know. I got to go back and watch the other ones, even though I've seen the other ones. But I got to go back and watch it and really analyze it to see if his Batman changes over time. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I just felt like in this film, he was missing a little something. I don't know what. I can't put my finger on it, but he was missing a little something in him being Batman. You know what I mean? He was believable as Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? And to me, he played a different Bruce Wayne than what Michael Keaton played. But that was Michael Keaton's version, and Christian Bale had his own version of his Batman, but of his Bruce Wayne, I should say. But yeah, I still think he did an awesome job at being at being Batman. So, you know, he still brought those characteristics out of being Batman. You know what I mean? As I said in my 89 video, you know, Batman is a broken individual. You know, he's a broken individual, and you see in this movie how he becomes so broken. And by him being this broken, you see what he has to do for himself to become who he becomes. You know, there's a line where Katie Holmes' character, Rachel Dawes, says Bruce Wayne is the mask, where Batman is the actual real character. You know what I mean? Because you kind of see when he transforms into Batman, he gets lost And I don't want to say he gets lost in the character. It's kind of almost like he becomes who he was meant to become, which is, Bruce Wayne is meant to become Batman. So in her saying that, you got this mask on, and this mask is Bruce Wayne, where you are actually Batman is the real you. You know what I mean? So in seeing that, it's an interesting dynamic with the character. And like I said, not taking nothing away from Christian Bale, it adds, this Batman was a little more layered than anything, which is a good thing. That's a good thing. Liam Neeson being Ra's al Ghul. I always have a problem with his name. Ra's al Ghul. Him being the villain. And I think this was at the time when Liam Neeson was getting into his action phase. With Taken and Taken 2, and Liam Neeson was doing a whole lot of action movies. Starting to do a lot of action movies at this time. I've always liked Liam Neeson as an actor ever since Darkman. Ever since I seen him in Darkman. It's just. He was in Darkman and then he kind of disappeared for a little bit. I think he was in Darkman and then he was in Schindler's List, and then he just kind of faded out, and then he came back. But I always liked him as an actor. His voice. I always liked his voice. He got a certain voice that I always liked about him. Rugger Hauer is in this movie as well. He makes an appearance in this movie, and Morgan Freeman, he plays Lucius Fox, which he pretty much aids in Bruce Wayne becoming Batman. You know what I mean? Which is cool, which is always cool beans. And I love to see Morgan Freeman in movies, reminding me from Lean On Me. Morgan Freeman doesn't get old. Morgan Freeman looks the same from when I saw him in Lean On Me all the way until, I don't even remember the last movie he's done. But he doesn't get old. He doesn't get old. He looks the same way he looked in Lean On Me all the way to Bruce Almighty. He just got more gray hair. But Morgan Freeman just looks the same. And anytime you see Morgan Freeman in a movie, it's always a pleasure and it's always a delight. Katie Holmes, she plays Rachel Dawes, and I don't want to say she serves the purpose, because she serves the purpose of being that woman in Bruce Wayne's life. In every Batman movie he has a love interest. I don't know if he had a love interest in Batman and Robin. I don't know if he did, because I know he did in the first three he did. And I can't remember if he had one in Batman and Robin. And I don't even know if I'm going to go back and watch that. I know I said I was going to watch it for shits and giggles, but I don't even know if I'm going to go back and watch that movie. But, she serves the purpose of Bruce Wayne having something to care about. She's that one grounding figure that keeps him from going too far over the edge. I would feel like, she's the one that kind of keeps him grounded. She's the one that kind of keeps him from not going too far into the Batman character, because, she's kind of like that reason for him to not go too far, because he can lose her. You know what I mean? So I understand why she's there. And plus, they had a relationship from when they was kids as well. But I understand why she's there. You know what I mean? But to me, she's one of the main characters, but she's still kind of like a secondary character. But she serves her purpose for why she's in the movie. You have Scarecrow, who's he's a secondary villain. Ra's al Ghul is really the real villain, because after a while, once the movie reveals what's going on with the what the real purpose of the plot is, you see that Ra's al Ghul is behind it the whole time. You know what I mean? But Scarecrow didn't really get too much burn in this movie. Like, he got a little bit of play, but he didn't really get a lot for him to be the main villain. And the actor who plays it, Cillian Murphy, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his first name right, but he's got a look about him that's very intimidating. Very, very intimidating. In a lot of movies that he play in, it's almost like he's meant to play a villain. He just has that look about him where he can play a real convincing, intimidating, very, very, very scary villain. You know what I mean? And him playing, he didn't even have to put on a damn Scarecrow mask, man. Just his face alone and the expressions that he make, man, is just enough for you to be like, I don't trust this dude too much. He's got a lot going on. He's sketchy. He's very sketchy with his looks. You know what I mean? But I think he was cast perfectly but I still feel like he didn't get a lot of he didn't get a lot of playtime. He's on the screen, and you see that he's working with Ra's al Ghul. He's pretty much a pawn in not a pawn. Well, yeah, he's pretty much a pawn. He's the man below. He's one of the lower dogs. Ahead of below Ra's al Ghul. So he serves his purpose. And Michael Caine, who plays an awesome Alfred, he plays a great Alfred. Because he's pretty much the father figure to Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? And he has his moments. He has that. He has that loving relationship of being the only the only adult figure in Bruce Wayne's life. You know what I mean? So he serves his purpose, and I like the way Michael Caine played him. Michael Caine played him as a older. I kind of feel like Michael Caine played him as a almost like a grandfather figure, kind of almost too, like the way that Alfred was played in '89. In '89, he was the butler, but he still had that grandfather presence about him. And I feel like in this movie, he has that same presence of being that secondary father, but he's more like a grandfather because he's family. You know what I mean? So I feel like Michael Caine did his thing as well. You know what I mean? It's over. I love seeing Michael Caine in movies as well. Michael Caine has a certain way about him that I like when he's in films. Well, who else was in this movie? Oh, Gary Oldman. How can I forget about Gary Oldman? Oh man, how can I forget about Gary Oldman? Gary Oldman is one of my favorite actors of all time, from The Professional and from Dracula and what's the movie he was in? True Romance. I love Gary Oldman. How can I forget about Gary Oldman? He plays I don't want to call him Commissioner Gordon because I'm so used to calling him Commissioner Gordon. But in this film, I think he's a sergeant in this movie. So he's just he's a regular cop in this movie, and then he gets bumped up. Oh God, I don't want to say the end of the movie, but at the end of the movie, he gets bumped up to lieutenant. You know what I mean? But I'm so used to calling him Commissioner Gordon, but he plays Gordon in the movie. You know what I mean? So seeing Gary Oldman and seeing him in this movie, and like I said, Gary Oldman is always a joy. I don't care what Gary Oldman do; he's always a joy to watch in the film. But trying to think anything else in this movie that was going on. Anyway, pretty much that was it. In that was pretty much it in this movie. So wrapping it up, we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna give it the scale on a 4 thumbs up scale. I give Batman Begins. I give it 3 thumbs up. And well, you know what? Should I take that back? No, I'm gonna leave it at 3. I'm gonna leave it at 3 thumbs up because I'm trying to see why I won't give it 4 thumbs up. I don't know. I don't know. With this one, I just feel like there still was something missing. I don't know what. I can't put my finger on it. But to me, I feel like there was something missing. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the way Christopher Nolan did the film. Like I said, Christopher Nolan did his thing. I forgot to talk about Hans Zimmer's score. Hans Zimmer starts his own brand of Batman music in this movie, which is prominent throughout the film. But I'll talk about that later on in the other ones because I think it's a little bit more evident in the other 2 Batman movies. But Hans Zimmer does the score, and he has his own take on the score, and he does an awesome score. But going back to the scale, because I'm backtracking. Going back to the scale, I give Batman Begins. I'm gonna stick with 3 thumbs up. Great direction. Like I said, I still feel like there was something missing. Don't know what just yet, and if I figure it out, I'll let you guys know in another video. If I figure it out in the other movies. But I give it 3 thumbs up. The acting I give 4. I give 4 for these actors making these characters believable. Christian Bale made Batman believable and not taking nothing away from him because I know he had to create his own version. You can't go and do something else another actor did. I might say that Michael Keaton is my best Batman, but Christian Bale still did his own thing in being Bruce Wayne and being Batman. By Christian Bale doing his thing, Liam Neeson, the entire cast. I feel like the entire cast served their purpose and did what they needed to do for the film. What am I missing? What am I missing? I talked about the score, Hans Zimmer score. I think Hans Zimmer did a great score. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna leave it like that. We're gonna wrap this up because I don't want this to run on too long. So we're gonna wrap this up. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and show your boy some love. I'm Mar Sharp. This is Short Man Filmworks, and these are the Everyday Man film reviews. Y'all stay tuned. I got two more. Well, I actually got three more Batman movies to go because I still got the trilogy that I want to finish, and then I still have the new Batman that I have to go see, which I am late as can be. It came out March 4th, and I'm like 3 weeks late on seeing this movie, but I'm gonna get to it because I promised I was gonna make these videos, and I'm gonna get to it. So now the next film, the next video we're gonna go over the Dark Knight, which stars once again Christian Bale, and we got Heath Ledger doing his own version of the Joker in that movie. So we're gonna get to that on the next video. So once again, Mar Sharp, Short Man Filmworks. This is the Everyday Man Film Reviews, and I will see y'all on the next video.